Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this segment of Uniquely Union. This is a series of interviews that highlights Union County residents and business people that have made Union County the great place it is to live and work. And our guest for today is Martin Shafer.
Thank you, sir. I'm proud to be here.
We are thrilled to have you.
Thank you.
And for those that may not know you, if you could give us a little bit of your background, how you got to be to the place in life you are today.
Well, I started out in Knoxville and lived there till I lived downtown where UT is. UT condemned our house in 1962 to build a dorm. So we moved to Fountain City, and I lived in Fountain City for about 25 years, and my next door neighbor owns some property in this place way out in the country called Union County. Mm-hmm. And I said, boy, that would be fun to live out there. And they said, well, let's go look at it. And we drove out there. It was off Satterfield Road, turn on Graves, and go back a little farther in the boonies, and here was this old farm. And I said, man, I love it. There was no house on it, no nothing, just a barn. I said, well, I can probably turn that barn into somewhere to live till I build a house. And so I lived in that barn for probably 3 years, and just absolutely loved it. So that's kind of how I got to Union County.
And you've been in Union County how long?
About 35 years.
About 35 years.
But the local folks say I ain't no local guy. You know, you got to be here 100 before they'll say you're a Union County boy. They still tell me I'm just a visitor.
Mm-hmm. You're not native, are you?
I am not a native, and a lot of these folks let me know I'm not a native, but I love it here.
It's lived up to your expectations.
It's a great place, great time, great folks, and I just love every minute of it.
Well, we're glad that you do and did and will.
Good, thank you. Absolutely.
Now, before you came to be in this particular place in life, you've had a few vocations.
I've had a few, yes sir, I have. I started in the early 60s, sold insurance for a while, and then a buddy of mine, Sam Furrow Auction Company, we got to talking, and he asked me if I would be interested in working with his outfit. So Sam's a great guy, an absolutely great guy, so I worked with Sam for about 12 years as his auctioneer. I was his company pilot. I was his truck driver. I was the guy that set up the auctions that were out of state, and really a learning experience. So I was an auctioneer for a long time and had a great time doing it. And I do a few of them up here in Union County, but I like to do the ones for fun now.
Are you good at the?
Well, I'm fair, I guess. I guess so. It's a lot of fun, and I really had a good time doing it. But I love doing the charitable ones up here in Union County. Mm-hmm. Great folks. I love to get their money. I just love to get their money.
Well, as a lot of people do, but at least you do it for
and
good purposes.
A lot of people over here have some good money.
Yeah,
absolutely they do.
Some of us don't like to turn loose of it too much.
Yeah,
but
Ronnie Mincey's one of them. So
I'm a little tight. Yeah,
come on, man. He squeaks when he walks.
Yep, I've been accused of that a time or two. You've also been a truck driver.
I was a truck driver when I left Sam. A fella called me, and I had a CDL from working with Sam because we had to haul a lot of heavy equipment from auction to auction, so I already had a Class A. And the fella asked me if I would kind of substitute for a friend for a week or two. I said, well, yeah, I'll do that. So I hauled mail from Knoxville to Philadelphia every day, or 4 days in a row. I go up, spend the night, come back, spend the night, go up, spend the night, come back, spend the night. 615 miles a day for about 2 years. That 2 weeks ended up to be about 2 years. So that was really an experience. From the time you leave here, Knoxville, or Maynardville, your name was driver, and that's all anybody knew you as. And it was just it's a whole different world out there being a truck driver. But I'm glad that's behind me now.
So do you consider yourself retired?
I'm a retired from a lot of things, but I'm still pretty active in what I do kind of for a living. Me and my partner have a sign shop in Knoxville, in Halls, and we call ourselves the Sign Guys. I got to tell you a little trucking story before.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
We're in Pennsylvania somewhere, and there was a local sheriff pulled over one of my buddies, and we have a federal seal on that post office vehicle plus our seal. Little county cop pulled up and said, "I need to look in your truck." This is not to me, it's a friend of mine. He said, "I'm sorry, I can't let you in that truck." The cop says, "Yeah, I'm going to look in your truck." So our guy took his padlock off and our seal, but he wouldn't touch the federal seal. The cop cut the seal. The cop opened the door and got in our trailer. Our driver shut the door, locked it back, and called the U.S. Marshals, which is what he was supposed to do. The U.S. Marshals came down in about 30 minutes, unlocked the trailer, took the cop in the helicopter, and went off with him. So I guess that means you don't mess with the U.S. mail.
I'd say so.
The U.S. Marshals flat took that cop off, gone. And I'm going to tell you one other little trucking story. I was really tired, and I'd been to Texas or somewhere, and I was on the way back, and I was so tired when I got to Level Road out there in West Knoxville. I said, "I just can't make it. Just cannot make it any farther." So I said, "I'm just going to go in here in this truck stop, take me a nap." About that time, there's a little knock on the door. I don't know what you know about truck drivers and some of the things that happen at some of the old truck stops, but there's a lady, and I don't know if you're familiar with the term lot lizard, but there was a lot lizard that came and knocked on my door and said, "Sir, would you like some company?" And I said to myself, "Oh gosh almighty." About that time, a policeman pulled through the parking lot. She says, "Can I get in so I can hide from the policeman?" I said, "Well, yeah, go ahead and get in." So she got in and said, "You look like a really nice guy. What could I do for you?" And I said, "Nothing." She said, "I'll do anything you want to do for $50. Anything, you name it." She said, "I'm going to go back in the sleeper, and I'll call you in a minute." So about that time, I started my truck. And she picked out the back of my sleeper back there, and she said, "What are you doing?" She said, "You said you'd do anything I wanted for $50. I said, $50, you'll do anything? Yep. I said, "Honey, we're going home and paint my barn." So that was my only trucking story that I need to be telling, but that was a fun and interesting story. Going home to paint my barn, that girl, I'm sure that she didn't know what to do.
I predict that you
Okay,
never
we
got
can
your
go on to the
barn
next one.
painted, did you?
Yep. All right, we're through with trucking stories.
Not that time anyway. I'd say you didn't get your barn painted.
That was fun.
Now, your business, interestingly enough, is located in Halls,
We are located in Halls, yes, sir.
but you are a member and the president of the Union County Business and Professional
Yes, sir.
Association.
Proudly.
So tell us how how long you've been a member,
I've been a member. I was a member about 30 years ago for about 10 years, but that's when the trucking and stuff started, so I had to leave. And when I got back to Union County, sweet Marilyn Toppins started talking to me and got me interested again. And so I joined, and after a couple of years, I was honored. They asked me if I'd consider being the president, and I said, "Absolutely. It's a great place, great organization. I'd be honored to do it." So that's kind of how I got back into it.
And you're the president. What is your vision for business and professional during your term?
Well, what we want to do is the people that are members and the businesses that we're trying to attract to come into Union County. There's several things that we have to work on, and number one is broadband. Without broadband, there's not a whole lot of big stuff that's going to come in here. Mm-hmm. And the infrastructure for, like the roads to continue from the county line to go on through with that 4-lane, that would be, those are two of the things that really need to happen before anything great big. And the technical schools that are there's lots of talk about that right now, and we think with our new governor that a lot of that will be coming here. We have some of the places that are available now, and that's what we need here is tech schools, in my opinion, and we all need to work together to make that happen.
Do you see a good spirit of working together toward these goals?
Absolutely, I do. There's a lot of people holding hands in a very positive way. I'm gonna say holding hands. Let's say working together, and to make Union County a better place to be. Tourism's a great thing. We need to continue to work on that area. If we had, just a motel just for people that go to the lake on the weekends, come in from out of state, where are they going to stay? That's one thing that I think that would help our area, is to have a place for these folks to stay, because it doesn't take long to fill up what we have.
Mm-hmm. And what do we actually have?
As far as a place to stay, we could have Hickory Star,
mm-hmm.
and and Big Ridge. We got camping facilities, but no motel type. So they got to go to Halls. They got to go to Emory Road down there somewhere in order to stay for a weekend somewhere. So they got to drive all the way from up here, wherever they are, and go to town to stay.
When you compare Union County today to Union County 35 years ago, tell us a little bit about the differences you've experienced.
Well, for one, the roads. It's a whole lot easier to get here, and we've all suffered a little bit from, or been inconvenienced, not suffered, from the 2-lane all the way from Halls all the way through town. And that, in my opinion, has helped a bunch. And we have now some places that we can eat. We've got, of course, our good Pete's and our good Little Joe's, and now we have McDonald's and Hardee's and Taco Bell, and of course, and there's always 33 Diner. Always 33 Diner. You can say wherever you want to go, is that where 33 Diner is? And then they'll also mention something about the pinto on the pole. Mm-hmm. Everybody, no matter where you go, somebody always knows where the pinto on the pole is. Mm-hmm. But it's fun to be from here. Of course, they all expect you to be barefooted and chewing tobacco and all that sort of stuff. But it's an honor to be from Union County.
What do you see as the major obstacles toward accomplishing some of the goals of business and professional you just mentioned? I mean, I know there's a good spirit of cooperation and working together, but there's always barriers. So at the present time, what would you say the major barriers are? That's
a good one. The unity, making people want to work together to accomplish these goals. just like a chain, you can pull a chain all you want to, and everybody's working together, but you can't push it. Mm-hmm. You can pull a chain because everybody's working together. That's what we need to do, is go forward instead of a few people in that chain link not doing their job or not supporting the cause, saying they are, but not doing it. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the way I think a lot of people talk, and then don't follow up with what they say they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Do you see some people that love status quo and really don't want anything to change?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm 75, and there's a lot of people in my vintage say it's fine, just fine the way it is. It's worked this way for however long they've been here in Union County, and mm-hmm. We don't need to change anything. Who needs that old internet thing? I can't even type. Well, that's the problem. We need to roll with the flow and keep up with what's going on. And it's harder for us old guys to really jump in and get that. When you have to call a 10-year-old to help you fix a computer because you can't figure out how to do it. Mm-hmm. But the younger folks are just 25 years ago, and I'd go to a meeting with 100 people there, I'd know 95% of them. But now that I'm out of that pocket, I guess you might say, you go to these meetings now, and you might know 5 people there, mm-hmm. and they're the people's sons or daughters, and things just change, and you need to kind of roll with them.
Mm-hmm. Of course, in defense of us oldsters that don't like change, change is uncomfortable because it's the unknown
Absolutely.
at the very best. And there's a comfort in status quo because we've lived it, we've experienced it, we know what to expect.
And it works.
To a point.
Yep.
To a point, until so much change comes around it that you become a little isolated unit, I guess you might call it. But you are also not only the president of the Business and Professional Association, you're on the board of the Union County Chamber of Commerce.
Yep, and the chamber has some of the same problems. Is go after new industry, and one of the first questions they'll ask is, how much flat land do you have that we could build a plant? And there's just not a ton of that around here. And then the next question is broadband. And anybody big is not going to, well, almost anybody anyhow, is not going to be real favorable about coming to an area that doesn't have broadband. I mean, that's just the way it is. And the chamber, we try to welcome new businesses, whether they're small or large, and try to get them involved in a community network of working together, supporting the things, and work together. Just support each other. That's one thing that we need to do. And the new technology of like Amazon and all the, order it today, get it tomorrow, that really hurts the folks up here in Union County, because why should the little retail stores open here when somebody gonna get it online? We know how all that's hurting the small folks.
Online's even hurting some of the bigger giants.
Yes, yeah, it is.
I mean, whoever thought we'd see the day Kmart would be gone?
Sears, yeah. And I heard today, I think Macy's is closing a whole bunch of stores.
And we recently lost Fred's.
How
do you anticipate that'll impact Union County's economy?
It'll affect it, and it's hard to find somebody to take over that building. It's tough to find somebody again, like we just talked about a little bit before. It's hard to get somebody to come up here because of some of the situations we talked about. No broadband, it's just tough.
What are some of the smaller businesses that are in Union County that people may not really be that aware that they even exist in some cases?
Well, we have there's a few plumbers. Some of these technical people, I'm going to call plumbing technical. But
it is to me.
And it is to most of us. Plumbers and electricians, these kind of folks that are licensed and are approved to do work here, it's hard for them to have enough to advertise, to get bigger, and to go in the direction that they want to go. And there's several small, let me think, and there's some good, like the new appliance guy, I can't think of his name right off the bat. Great guy. He belongs to the business professionals.
That's Walker's, isn't it?
Yeah. But there's a lot of small businesses that are great. They just have a tough time getting out there and doing the advertising they need to do to compete with what's on the computer.
Right. You see a good spirit of camaraderie, I'd say, between business and professional in the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely, yes.
Is there any other entity that is on board with the goals you think of business and professional in the chamber?
I think any organization has to be in the direction of working together in teamwork to make everybody go. Just like I'm in the sign business, but I'm not going to be against another guy that's in the sign business. We all need to work together. I can probably do some things he can't. He can do some things I can't. Foxy Wraps is like some of our, I'm going to say, friendly competition. They're good friends of ours. We do some stuff for them, and they're great folks, and why not work together? You know,
Exactly.
we might be able to work together and do a great big job, and where neither one of us small ones can even get the job. So work together, be friends, pat each other on their back. Good job, man. You know,
I
love
agree.
each other.
I agree with
Thank
you
the
on that
Lord.
one. Now, another area that you are involved in is the restoration of the mill at Big Ridge.
That's absolutely true. There's a bunch of us, Danny Cook and Rick Riddle and Josh Jones. There's a bunch of good old guys. I'm not sure what you folks know about the status of the mill at Big Ridge, but it's kind of rotten and kind of worn down. So what we're going to do is replace the shaft and rebuild the wheel itself. And there's a bunch of us that are tickled to death to be able to do that. A bunch of woodworkers, and of course you got to have some guys that can shoot the bull. So we got to have a few of those just hanging around to keep us going.
Right.
And it's going to be a great project. We have the wood for the axle, and have some tentative plans on what the wheel's going to look like. But it's going to be a great job. And there's been a lot of Boy Scouts are going to help us clear out the waterway to the mill, because it's kind of grown up and roots in it and rocks in it. But the Boy Scouts are going to help us with that. That's going to be a great project.
I think that is an admirable project because history tends to escape us.
Absolutely.
I think one of the saddest things about Union County is so much of the history has just gone away. Houses have been abandoned and rotted down, old businesses torn down.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's admirable that there is an interest in saving our history.
And
Now-
the Thunder in the Park, a great positive thing happening in our county. That's a chamber deal. There's some car shows. There's a lot of good positive things that go on here. Wilson Park, man, what a place to have good events. The farmers market's going to move down the road a little bit from the parking lot of the school to turn up Durham Drive, and it's the first lot on your left where it's kind of a wooded area right now. That's going to be the new farmers market with a pavilion. Going to be really, really nice. That's going to attract a bunch of folks. Maybe have the farmers market Saturday and a day during the week. That's going to be I can't wait for that to happen, and it should happen fairly quick. Quick being several months, 3 to 5 months, something like that, I think.
I don't exactly remember when you first came on my radar, but I remember kind of how you came on my radar. I remember in particular going to the Union County local government's Christmas party one year. And as a prize, you had donated the coolest map of Union County. It was a jigsaw puzzle of Union County that you made.
We did, yes, sir, sure did.
And unfortunately, I did not win it. But I determined to myself, I must have one.
Well, good.
So I got a hold of you, and I have my very own. I meant to bring it and forgot it. But it is a beautiful thing.
It's 12 inches by 12 inches, and it's on a board. So when you take the puzzle pieces out, there's a history of Union County on the board behind the puzzle. And I'm like you, I absolutely love it. We spent a lot of time developing that, and Bonnie Peters helped us with the historical part of it, and it's really been a lot of fun.
I have enjoyed it. It is one of my treasured possessions.
Well, good.
I have really enjoyed
Thank
it.
you. Absolutely.
And I'll admit, I took it apart one time. Those suckers harder to put back together than you think it would be.
It is. And what's funny when you show it to somebody, because you can literally hand them the puzzle, one of the first things they do is turn it over and look at the back. So there goes all the pieces in the floor. So I put that sucker together a time or two myself.
Mine has a treasured place on the corner of my desk in my home library.
Well, good.
And it sits there on that corner. Of course, I've taken it apart, looked at all the pieces, like I said, put it back together, but it's there, it's treasured. Another thing that I have that you made that I really like is a set of coasters.
Coasters, a Union,
that have the map of Union County on them.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we love that. That's been a fun project right there. we hope every business, and if you don't have one, holler at me. We'll see if we can get you one.
I have a set of 4.
Well, good.
They also have their treasured place in my home library. And they're useful too,
Yeah.
I use them. You have some other creations that you've made
Well,
with you.
when I go home and like to relax, I just go to the barn. Of course, a lot of us Union Countyans know what the barn's like. So you just go in there and you're in a whole different world. And
That's your man cave, I take it.
That's my man cave, yes, sir. And one of the things I like to do is make bowls. And we have a few of them here. And I don't cull anything. If they've got bark on them, I still leave the bark on. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a little lip on the inside of the bowl. This is what I call an M&M bowl. So when you put M&Ms, you put them on the side, that little curve just flips them right over in your hand. You can just eat all the M&Ms you want. And that's cedar. And the prettiest one, I think, it's called box elder. Box elder has red stripes in it.
We were talking about that earlier. That is the first thing in my life I have ever seen made out of box elder wood that I know of.
The local folks say it's kind of a trash wood. It's not good for anything, but I sure love it to make bowls out of.
I know the house I was raised in had 2 box elder trees that shaded kind of the north and the east end of the house.
Oh, yeah.
Nice shade trees. But that's the first thing I've ever seen that was ever made out of box elder wood.
And I like to just yank wood out of my woods and see what they look like. And here's one that I have no idea what kind of wood it is.
It's beautiful,
It's got
though.
black spots in it. I don't know what caused it. Don't have any idea, but I love it. Don't have any idea what kind of wood it is. And then stuff like this one. This is cedar. And, your little potato chips or whatever, put your dip in the middle. But that's pretty cool. But anyhow, that's what I do when I get home is I piddle around making bowls and just have a good time. Or yo-yos. I make yo-yos
Make
too.
yo-yos.
And rolling pins. But I try to give these away to these little kids. But kids today don't know what a rolling pin is.
I wish you had one to show and demonstrate.
They don't have any idea what a rolling pin is. It's amazing.
That's another thing that becomes a lost art with
Absolutely.
the onset of technology and manufactured toys and all this different stuff.
My generation and the generation probably below me, there's a lot of craftsmen that once they go to heaven, we hope, it's going to be a lot of lost arts in our world, in Union County's got a lot of real good craftsmen in it that can do a lot of things. Absolutely.
Union County is one of the best places in the world to hide talent and to hide enterprise.
Music, the Opry, what a deal that is. That's going to turn into something really big. They've done a lot of work. Deborah Keck and Danny and I can't think of his name. Who's the other one? Come on now.
I can't bring it up either.
He's a commissioner.
Sidney Jesse.
Sydney. Yeah. Excuse me, Sydney.
Word commissioner triggered my memory on that one.
Yeah, good guy. But gosh, what a bunch of work those folks have done to develop that. Wow.
And don't you think one of the reasons that we have all this, what we call hidden talent, Union County people are just not braggarts or anything?
Absolutely not. Yeah, I do a little picking at the Paulette Fire Department, and when you walk in down there, everybody's the same. They don't care if you've been to Nashville, and they don't care if you just started picking yesterday. You're all the same down there. Now, some of them, when they start playing, it's obvious that they're a little better than the others, but I just love it.
But that's another good Union County trait. We don't overly brag and we don't overly criticize.
That's right. And it's a good learning. You can go in there and watch these guys have been playing forever and learn a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of it that goes on in Union County, not only at Paulette, but there's a lot of Russ Strong, there's a lot of up in the chapel they do. There's a bunch of it.
And undoubtedly, when you get a lot of those people together, you hear lots of stories.
Lots of stories,
That
yeah.
won't be written down probably ever or told anywhere. Not that they're bad, just that those people, that's not their style. They're
That's
not
right.
writers, they're storytellers and talkers.
That is absolutely true. But I just love Union County. I'm glad I had the privilege of being able to move up here, and there's so many good people, and help. I mean, if you need help, about all you got to do is just kind of raise your hand a little bit, and there's 4 or 5 people that's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't matter what it is.
Sometimes you have to ask.
Sometimes you
But
do.
that's about the extent of it. You ask and they'll come and help you.
But you see somebody with a flat tire on the side of the road, and I guarantee within 5 minutes there'll be 2 or 3 cars there to help.
Mm-hmm. I stopped one time. You're not supposed to drive and talk on the phone, you know.
That is correct.
This was even before the law went into effect. But one of my coworkers called me. I was on my way home, so I stopped on the side of the road. And while I was talking, 3 people stopped and knocked on my window and asked, "Are you okay?
Great.
Are you having trouble?"
That is great.
And you didn't have to be afraid they were going to shoot you or anything either.
That's Union County.
And, of course, Union County's moved into, we're not isolated from crime and all that, but still overall, most of the time, you can leave your door unlocked and things are pretty much okay when you get home.
Absolutely.
And they don't steal your car too often.
It happens, and it's tough for the drug situation everywhere. It's kind of everywhere, but we're blessed up here. Absolutely.
One of the pleasures the school system enjoys, there's not gangs.
Yes.
Down in the inner city, you have a lot of trouble with drug gangs and drug lords and all that. And we don't have that either.
Yep, you're right. And the diversity of people up here is great. There's a lot of good folks. I hate Father Steve leaving us, though. He's a good
Father Steve, I got to know him not well, I wouldn't say, but when you go to the community events, he was always there.
Always there.
And he was always the same everywhere you saw him. And, I hated to see him go too. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting the gentleman that's replaced him.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But Father Steve assured me that he would be an enjoyable person.
We're good.
So I look forward to the opportunity to meet him someday in the not too far future.
I hope he's as active as Father Steve was in the community, because Father Steve really was.
Yeah, and Father Steve, sometimes we become denominational, but he never did. He was open to everybody.
Absolutely, he was.
And I think Union County over the years has become a more accepting place too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do too.
And that's a good thing. Well, as we come to a close, is there anything else you'd like to share with the good folks that may be tuning us in?
That's all the surprises I know of that are coming up, but just keep involved with you and your writings and stuff. You'll bring it out. You'll bring whatever's coming to Union County out. And
I'll give it a good shot.
Absolutely. We know you will, and we appreciate what you do for our community.
I've enjoyed having the opportunity to do that. I got started doing that under the Union County Shopper.
Okay, yeah.
And when it folded, I didn't do anything for a while, and Aaron Russell came to me. I was kind of enjoying the vacation, if you'll know the truth. And Aaron Russell came to me, and he invited me to submit to historicunioncounty.com. Some weeks are more inspirational than others.
Absolutely.
He's a cousin to my half brothers and sisters, but he's not related to me. He told me one day, he said, sometimes, Ronnie, the things you write are good, and other times they're not just worth reading.
That's what you call a friend.
But, that's true.
Told it like it was.
And I'll admit some days are more inspirational than others, but you just have to read every week to see whether it was inspiring or not,
Amen. Amen. And some more folks that we really need to put more on our radars. These guys that are doing this right now, the Russells.
Yes.
They really do a good job promoting Union County, and all you guys do. So, and you better not edit this out. You better leave it right in there, but I think they do an absolutely great job in this
I agree
community.
with you.
Okay.
And
And you tell them too, they can't edit it out. Can't do it.
No,
Okay.
got to keep this part there.
Gotcha.
Well, Martin, it's been a pure pleasure talking to
Absolutely.
you.
I appreciate you asking me, brother. Sure do.
But before, last thing, tell us if we want to get any of your products, maps, coasters, bowls, give us your contact.
I'm gonna give you a number. Our shop number and my cell number is 865-599-5547. If I don't answer it, just I'll see your number and I'll call you back. I answer every call I ever get. So just if I don't answer you right then, I'll call you back.
And I can testify to that. Anytime I've ever tried to get a hold of you, 24 to 48 hours tops.
I got you.
Martin, thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much.
Thank you, Ronnie.
And thank you all for tuning us in to this segment of Uniquely Union, a set of interviews designed to introduce you to the residents and business people that make Union County the great place that it is and has always been to live and work. Thank you.